20 million Americans are losing their eyesight right now. Most of them do not know it yet. Age-related macular degeneration does not announce itself. It starts at the edges. A slight blur when you read, a dimness you blame on the lighting, a face that looks softer than it should. By the time you notice, the damage to your retina has been building for years, and the medical system's answer is a needle in your eye that costs $1,850 per injection, 5 or more times a year, for the rest of your life. It does not cure you. It slows the bleeding inside your retina while the disease keeps progressing. That is a $10,000 a year subscription to not going blind. My grandmother never had a needle in her eye. She never saw an ophthalmologist. She read, she cooked. She recognized every face in her village until she was 96 years old. She ate the same purple vegetable every single day, the same one her mother ate and her mother before that. It cost less than 80 cents, and it contains compounds that modern science has now confirmed protect the exact cells in your retina that macular degeneration destroys. 20 million Americans need this, and not one doctor is prescribing it. To understand why this vegetable works, you need to understand what is actually destroying your eyes, your retina, the thin layer of tissue at the back of your eye that converts light into the images you see, is one of the most metabolically active tissues in your entire body. It consumes more oxygen per gram than your brain, and every second that your eyes are open, light is pouring into that tissue, generating enormous amounts of oxidative stress. Free radicals, unstable molecules that damage cells, are being produced inside your retina constantly, all day, every day, from the moment you wake up. Your body has a defense system for this. In the center of your retina, in a region called the macula, there is a layer of pigment made from two specific compounds, lutein and zeaxanthin. These are carotenoids, plant pigments that your body cannot produce on its own. You have to eat them. They accumulate in your macula and act as a natural filter, absorbing the high energy blue light that causes the most oxidative damage and neutralizing the free radicals before they can destroy your photoreceptor cells. Think of it as sunscreen that lives inside your eye. Without enough of it, your retina is naked against the light. The problem is that the average American diet is catastrophically low in these compounds. You eat processed food, white bread, sugar, and seed oils. You stare at blue light screens for 14 hours a day. You get almost no lutein and zeaxanthin from your meals. And meanwhile, the sugar you consume every day is doing something even worse, a process called glycation. While excess glucose binds to proteins in your blood vessels and damages them, the tiny, delicate blood vessels in your retina are among the first to suffer. Glycation weakens them, makes them leak, makes them rupture. That is exactly what happens in wet macular degeneration. Damage the blood vessels, leak fluid and blood into the macula, and your central vision disappears. The traditional Okinawan diet is the exact opposite of this. Almost no processed sugar, almost no refined carbohydrates, dense in carotenoids, dense in antioxidants, dense in the exact compounds your retina needs to survive decades of light exposure without breaking down. And at the center of that diet, eaten every single day, is a vegetable that contains more retinal protection per serving than almost anything else on earth. We call it beni imo. You know it as the Okinawan purple sweet potato. And it is not the same thing as the orange sweet potato you buy at your grocery store. Beni Imo has deep purple flesh, so dark it almost looks black when you cut it open. That color comes from anthocyanins, a class of flavonoid compounds that are among the most powerful antioxidants ever measured in food. The same pigments that make blueberries blue and blackberries dark. But Beni Imo contains them in concentrations that dwarf most berries, and it has been the staple food of Okinawa for over 4 centuries. Ever since the island's climate proved too wet to grow rice, and our ancestors discovered that this tuber thrived in monsoon conditions. A single cup of Beni Imo provides over 500% of your daily value of vitamin A, the vitamin most directly linked to retinal function and night vision. It delivers nearly 20% of your daily vitamin E, which protects cell membranes throughout your body, including the delicate membranes of your retinal pigment epithelium. And it is loaded with vitamin C, another antioxidant that works synergistically with the anthocyanins to neutralize free radicals. But the most important research is about what those anthocyanins do specifically inside your eye. A study published in the International Journal of Molecular Sciences examined the purple sweet potato anthocyanin directly on human retinal pigment epithelial cells, the RPE cells that form the critical support layer beneath your photoreceptors. When these cells die, your vision dies with them. That is the mechanism of macular degeneration. The researchers found that purple sweet potato anthocyanin protected these RPE cells from oxidative damage and supported their growth and structural integrity. A separate study confirmed that these anthocyanins mitigated retinal damage caused by the inflammatory effects of a high fat Western diet, the exact dietary pattern that most Americans follow. Your grandmother ate Doritos and drove through McDonald's. My grandmother ate Beni Imo from the garden. Her RPE cells were bathed in anthocyanins every single day for 96 years. That is not folklore. That is biochemistry. And Beni Imo is not exotic. Purple sweet potatoes are available at Walmart, Trader Joe's, and most Asian grocery stores across the United States. They cost between 80 cents and $1.50 each. You do not need a prescription. You do not need a doctor's visit. You do not need a needle in your eye. But Beni Imo is only one layer of the shield. There are two specific compounds that your retina needs above everything else, and without them, no amount of anthocyanins will save your vision. Lutein and zeaxanthin. These are the two carotenoids that physically make up the macular pigment, the protective layer I described earlier that filters blue light and scavenges free radicals inside your eye. Your body cannot synthesize them. They must come from food. And the research on them is not ambiguous or preliminary. It is one of the most well documented nutritional findings in ophthalmology. Epidemiological research found that consuming just 6 milligrams of lutein per day was associated with a 43% lower risk of developing macular degeneration. 43% from 6 milligrams. That is the amount in a single serving of cooked spinach, a handful of kale, or a cup of sweet potato leaves, which happen to be a staple green vegetable in Okinawan to cooking that Americans throw in the trash. A meta analysis of 20 randomized controlled trials involving over 900 AMD patients and 800 healthy subjects confirmed that supplementation with lutein and zeaxanthin significantly increase macular pigment optical density, the thickness of that protective filter inside your eye. The thicker your macular pigment, the more protected your photoreceptors are against light damage. The thinner it is, the faster you go blind, and your macular pigment is directly determined by what you eat. In Okinawa, our elders eat dark leafy greens with every meal. They eat goya, bitter melon, which contains both lutein and zeaxanthin. They eat the leaves of the sweet potato plant, not just the root. They eat these foods cooked with small amounts of fat because lutein and zeaxanthin are fat soluble. Your body absorbs dramatically more of them when they are consumed with oil or in a soup with pork broth. Our grandmothers did not know the word carotenoid, but their cooking methods maximized absorption of the exact compounds that protect the human retina, because those methods were refined over centuries of eating this way and staying healthy. Americans, meanwhile, spend $500 million a year on lutein supplements in capsule form, with absorption rates far lower than what you get from actual food cooked properly with fat. This is not about one vegetable and two compounds. If it were that simple, I would be lying to you the same way the supplement industry does. One pill, one solution, one purchase. In Okinawa, our elders kept their eyesight because the entire system worked together. The first layer is what you eat. Beni Aimo every day for the anthocyanins that protect your RPE cells. Dark leafy greens and goya for the lutein and the zeaxanthin that build your macular pigment. Small portions of fatty fish, mackerel, salmon, sardines, 2 to 3 times a week for the omega-3 fatty acids that reduce inflammation in the blood vessels of your retina. Green tea daily for EGCG, epigallocatechin gallate, an antioxidant that peer-reviewed research has shown protects retinal cells against UV damage and oxidative stress. Every meal is a deposit into the health of your eyes. Every meal an American eats at a drive-thru is a withdrawal. The second layer is what you eliminate. Processed sugar is the single most destructive substance for your retinal blood vessels. Glycation, the binding of glucose to proteins in your blood, damages the tiny capillaries that feed your macula. This is not theory. It is the exact mechanism behind diabetic retinopathy, and it accelerates macular degeneration in non-diabetics who simply eat too much sugar. The traditional Okinawan diet contained almost zero refined sugar. Our sweetness came from the sweet potato itself. When you remove processed sugar, you remove the primary chemical assault on the blood vessels that keep your retina alive. The third layer is light. Our elders spent their days outdoors in natural sunlight, not staring at screens that blast concentrated blue light directly into unprotected retinas for 14 hours a day. They worked in gardens. They walked. They lived under the sun with natural pupil adjustment. Your phone screen, your laptop, your television, each one is delivering the exact wavelength of light that causes the most oxidative damage to your macula. And you are doing it for more hours per day than any generation in human history. Here is what you do starting this week. Go to Walmart and buy purple sweet potatoes. They are in the produce section, usually near the regular sweet potatoes or in the specialty area. 80 cents to $1.50 each. Bake one every day. It takes 45 minutes in the oven at 400 degrees. Eat it with the skin. Buy a bag of frozen spinach or kale. $1, enough for a week. Cook a handful with every dinner in a tablespoon of olive oil. The fat is not optional. Without it, you absorb almost none of the lutein. Buy frozen salmon fillets. A bag of 5 costs $8 to $10. Eat 2 per week. Drink green tea instead of soda. A box of 100 bags costs $3 to $4 and lasts over a month. Total daily cost under $1.20. Total annual cost under $440. The alternative, anti-VEGF injections when your retina starts bleeding in 15 years, will cost you $10,000 a year, every year, for the rest of your life. And it will not give you back what you lost. It will only slow down how fast you lose the rest. Everything I just shared. The complete food system, the shopping list with specific products and brands, the recipes adapted for American grocery stores, the daily protocols, I documented in 3 volumes: the Okinawan Blueprint, the Okinawan Kitchen Manual, and the complete Okinawan edition with a 90-day implementation calendar. The link is below this video. But there is something else happening to Americans that costs even more than your eyesight. Your skin is aging decades faster than it should, and the $65 billion skincare industry is selling you serums and creams that fix nothing, while Okinawan women at 90 look the way American women spend thousands trying to look at 50. What they know, and what no dermatologist will tell you, is in the next video.